started. So thank you so much for being here. And also thank you. I've got a weird voice thing happening right now. So just ignore that throughout the class. So I've got two rock stars with me today, and they are rock stars in their own way and sort of for the same reason. So Laura Marotta, Napoleon Titschinger. Am I saying it right? Yes, great. Thank you both for being here. For those of you on the call, I am the team leader of the Keller Williams Elevate office, where Napoleon is the #1 agent that works on a team in our office. So congratulations. And he was so excited and surprised when I called him and told him that. And I also have the honor of being the team leader over here at Keller Williams Living as well. And Laura Marotta is the #1 team agent off of the Amanda Pullman team here as well. So real quickly, before we get into this, a few things. You can have a lot of success in real estate as an individual agent. You can also find a lot of success in real estate on a team. I think what's important to know is which environment you thrive best in. And once you find that environment, it takes your success to the next level. So we're not on here to convince anybody to join a team. We're on here because Laura and Napoleon have built businesses, and they would have likely built those businesses somewhat similar as an individual agent. But when you are on a team that pushes you and helps you and gives you a little bit more, you can take that to the next level, and you can take it 5 levels past that, which is what Napoleon and Laura have both done. So real quick, before we get in, let's do quick introduction. So Laura, I'm going to ask you first, tell us a little bit about you, maybe how long you've been in real estate and what your units and or volume looked like in 2023.
Hi, thanks, Danielle. Really appreciate the invite and congrats to Napoleon. I can only say all I can think of is Napoleon Dynamite. You're dynamite, Napoleon. I have been licensed since April 16th of 2006. I started my real estate career primarily in residential development in a specific community in Cleveland Heights that I saw was coming along. It was the old Jewish Community Center on Mayfield Road, right across from Cleveland Heights City Hall. I was stalking this community. I reached out to the property developer who I knew from my then current job, asked him to go to lunch to pick his brain, and he ended up hiring me and then sending me to real estate school. And so I had an unusual position in that while my license was obviously held with a brokerage, I didn't do any normal residential resale at all until I lost that job because the entire economy crashed in real estate, if any of you remember that, in August of 2008. And I found myself in August of 2008 crying because I was losing a paid job with commission and a lot of flexibility. It was amazing. And I learned a lot, and I was really sad that, the whole thing just went under. And I remember going to my office manager in tears saying, I don't know what I'm going to do. And he said, thank God for him, Richard Block. He said, Laura Marotta, everyone knows who you are. I don't think that's true, but he said, people know who you are in the Heights. You're a born salesperson. You're just going to sell real estate like everybody else. Just get out there. That was what he said. And I kind of took that conversation, and in 2 weeks, I'd sold my first home residential resale. And that was from a Sphere referral. And, it just kind of went from there. Long, long road. But that's how I really got started in what we are currently still doing.
Okay. And talk to me, I know today when we painted the town red, you had 5 new
Yes.
things coming up. Talk to me about numbers, volume, units, whatever you want to share about 2023.
Sure. So I will be very vulnerable and honest here. This has been a really challenging year. I think for a lot of us, for me, I'm definitely down in units. I'm a little down in volume. I'm down in GCI. It's still a great earning year. I mean, it's still great, but I'm not hitting the numbers I hit in 2020, 21, 22, and 23. I will probably close a little over 15 million. I'm going to be probably at 35 closed units, but last year I think I hit close to 17 million on 39. The year before was like 40 something, and around that same volume. I've never passed 20 million. I've gotten really close since 2020.
Thank
And
you
I joined the team in January of 2019. So I'll have my 6th year anniversary this January. And I don't know if you remember, Danielle, but you
I remember
onboarded
when
me.
you joined the team. Yes. And so that is one of my questions because you did have and Napoleon, it's a little bit different with you. But Laura, you did have this business beforehand. So like
Yes.
that is one of my questions is what did that transition look for you? Because I do remember when you joined the team. So and thank you for being vulnerable. And I think everybody on this call who was licensed in 2020 or 2021 they are feeling the same thing that you're feeling. So that is not like everybody had their very best years in 2020,
Yeah.
2021, 2022.
I
So
mean, all you had to do is kind of breathe and you could
yeah,
make money.
you're like, oh,
It was
I'm
still a lot of work,
accidentally
right?
rich.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So thank you. Okay, Napoleon, tell us a little bit about you, how long you've been licensed, and what your units and or volume has looked like over the last 12 months or so.
Absolutely. I first off, Danielle, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's awesome to be next to a face like Laura speaking. I got my license September 14th of 2021. So I'm still fresh. I'm still a new kid on the block. I got it as soon as I turned 18. So I was working under Daniela at 16. I was in school at the time, and that just wasn't my forte. So I figured, why not try real estate? I remember I was sitting at my dining room table and I'd go on realtor.com and I would look for the names that I seen the most on realtor.com, whether it was listings or on the buy side. And I kept coming across Daniela's name. So I called her and I said, hey, Daniela, I'm 16, just looking to get my foot in the door. How can I help? All I'm asking for is information. I don't want money. Let me sit under you. Let me learn. So Daniela was gracious enough. She is a godsend in my life. I'm so appreciative of her. I sat under her from 16 to 18, and by the time I turned 18, I think I was ready to go. Here we are. Last year was great. I somewhere around 40 units. I was just over 10 million on the year. I think I was somewhere around 11. And again, being vulnerable, I think this year we could feel the downtick as time goes on. Things are getting a little bit tougher. It's going to be a very comparable year to last year here in 24. A little more work, a little less breathing to come across the deals, but I'll probably end up around that 10, 11 mark. I've done 35-ish deals this year, hoping to end around 40 and at that 11 mark.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Laura said dynamite. And I feel
Yeah.
like
That's
knowing
incredible. Incredible.
I did not
Thank
know
you,
the
Laura.
story of you being 16. So
Yeah.
incredible for very different reasons. Okay. So I want the meat of this conversation to really just be kind of interviewee. Again, for those on the call, we kind of said this. We're not pushing you into a team, and a lot of you are working on teams right now. So how do you kind of get that rocket fuel, right? While you're working on a team from your rainmaker, from the people surrounding you, from the administrative staff? How do you do all that so that you can still put yourself forward? That was not the question, but that is what we're hoping to gain throughout the next 45 minutes of this. So Laura, you can take this one. How do you find the right balance between being part of a team and maintaining your own individual business and experience with clients? So how do you still give them the Laura Marotta effect with Powered by Place, with the Amanda Pullman team, with everything that you have going on over there?
Thank you, Danielle. That's a great question, and it's pretty simple. I have never fully embraced. I have used showing agents, but I take every call and every interview and every meeting as seriously as the first one I ever took. I feel like if you ever take your foot off the gas in that regard, you're just, you're going backwards. So for me, the client experience is the most important thing. You could talk to anybody on my team. I'm a maniac about client experience. I don't want them to ever feel like they were passed along. And one of my big oh my god, I can't think of the word. One of my big objections to Amanda was, no, my clients want me. Why would I join a team?
Everybody says that.
Everyone says that, right? And she said, you have to look at it as not a hand off, but a hand up. And that always stuck with me.
Oh,
Yeah. And what she meant was that you're still going to be boots on the ground. And of course, on a team, you can develop a team within a team. You can bring in an ISA, you can bring in a buyer's agent, you can become the Amanda in your own team, right? That's the place model. I haven't really fully embraced that because truthfully, I love working with my clients. I value those relationships. I feel like I have all the autonomy in the world. They're my clients first and foremost. But if I'm at a real estate conference, if I go on vacation, if I'm sick, if I get COVID, whatever, I have people that I can turn that business over to for the time being. And I know that they'll be taken care of. If I need someone to help me with showings, I have the advantage of a huge team that is all pulling, we're all pulling for each other. I was just blown away by the culture that Amanda was building and the opportunities it brought me to be myself, to run my own book, but to also leverage from the team into new clients. And, for me, that was the game changer. I could never get past $5 million in sales on my own for whatever reason. And remember, I wasn't on Facebook. I wasn't on Instagram. I did no advertising. I did zero marketing. So the only people that knew me were my sphere. And I was already excellent at working my sphere and getting business referrals from that. But I did not know how to grow out of that. And that's what the team brought to me. I hope I answered the question.
You did. And Napoleon, I have a little bit of a different question, but it's kind of along the same segue here. So when you joined the business, you joined right into Daniela's team. And it's interesting because a lot of times people join teams for the 3 L's, right? It's leads, leverage, and leadership, right? And part of that is reputation, I think, as well. And you had gone onto all the websites and found that she was listing all the houses in your area. On the flip side of it, because you are a newer agent, what has it looked like for you to step up into her shadow in the best way, right? With some of her clients that she's giving you. Like, what did that have to look like? How did you have to show up to make sure that you were reflective of her reputation, especially being 18 years old and one day when you got your license?
I love that question. And obviously, I don't look a day over 16 years old now, so you can only imagine how it looked back then. And I think that forced me to understand knowledge to the nth degree. I was basically thrown into the fire, and I'm here on Daniela's behalf, right? So I needed to understand as much as I could about real estate. And if you ask anybody that knew me when I first got my license, I was checking the hot sheets 50 times a day. I knew every single listing that was in Northeast Ohio because I couldn't have a singular reason for a buyer to feel like I didn't know what I was talking about or I didn't know what I was doing. I had a lot to prove at the time. And again, you're carrying the reputation of Daniela, which is a lot to carry. But sitting under her, seeing how she ran her business was amazing. It falls back on you not reinventing the wheel, right? I could pick pieces of what I loved that she did, and that saved me 5, maybe even 10 years of hardship in my business. I have 1,000 prior deals of learned experience from her. I could make that call and say, hey, Daniela, what's going on here? What do I have to do? But I think it was big shoes to fill. And I think that pressure forced me to truly understand the market and understand what I had to do. I think it was a great thing joining young. I learned so much about the market in the beginning. There wasn't much to do. I had a lot of clients that just wouldn't take me serious. I was driving a 2007 Ford Fusion that was rusted to the ground. So it really didn't help. Again, it's just knowledge. I think understanding the marketplace and understanding what buyers need to hear is so important.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, good. Thank you. So let's talk leverage a little bit. One of those 3 L's that we talked about. A lot of agents coming into this, they almost don't know what they don't know, or even if they've been in this for so long, right? Laura, like you had been an individual agent almost maybe because that's what you knew for so long. Talk to us about what leverage allows you to do in your business. Laura, for you, you didn't have it before, right? And then obviously Napoleon, for you, you got to step right into it. So you have a little bit of a different experience, but what has that L done for you that you didn't experience before, Laura?
Well, for starters, and being introduced to a team was a little intimidating for me because there were things that I was just naturally going to be handing off. And I still had a little bit of the mindset of like, no, I need to oversee all of this. And then it's like a handcuff. You don't realize you're handcuffed to all this stuff that you no longer have to do. So you can take that time. And as Ben Kinney, who is my favorite probably person in real estate aside from Amanda and Chris Suarez and my team members, as he says, you can with leverage buy back your time and just have time,
Mhm.
or buy back your time and use that to create more income opportunities. And
Mhm.
so I'll be, again, very honest. 2 days ago, I went paddleboarding in the morning because it was a beautiful day and I could, because I have an assistant, a fabulous assistant through Brivity that I earned back in 2021 once I hit 40 units. I earned Kate. Kate's on the call.
Hi,
She has
Kate.
she has changed my life. She's in the Philippines, which
Mhm.
is crazy. We're on WhatsApp all day long. She runs the back end of my business. And so she just now intuitively knows how to answer emails. Like everything is templated, right? So I have that so I can get my time back and I can go take care of a sick child or take my dogs to the vet, or I can go out and door knock my neighborhood and try and get more contacts and all these different marketing things that we can do. I have that time because I'm not running signs, running lot boxes, entering my listings. So we have Michael Fanera, who's our director of operations. I mean, he has streamlined our process. We have Catherine Bischoff, who's our listing manager. We have Alexis, who's running also the back of the team. And these people are plugged in to every deal that I have. So, we're always on Slack or WhatsApp or whatever, communicating so that nothing gets, nothing falls through the cracks. And I think more importantly, that we are always trying to be ahead of the client in terms of being, not just responsive to things, but, proactively getting things to them before they'd ever even have to ask us. So that's what leverage means to me. It's either you get your time back or you can go make more money with the time that you have from that leverage.
Well, and I think to your point that Amanda said, I also love that Amanda Pullman and Danielle Amargos are on here supporting you guys. That's amazing. And
Oh,
you
is
guys,
she on? Are they on
yes,
really?
they're both,
Oh,
Amanda
yay.
Pullman and Danielle are both on, and
Hi,
I think
Daniela.
it's amazing. But I think something that you just said that was like, you can go paddleboarding, right? And that Michael's going to take care of all the things that Michael takes care of, right? And that's almost like what you said earlier, what Amanda said, like that was the hand up versus the
Yeah.
hand off, is like, one person, it might take them 3 hours to respond to something because they're in showings, versus when you've got all these hands in place to sort of help you and maneuver all the things that have to happen, you can go a little bit further, right? It's like that rocket fuel that happens for you. And
Yes.
it's that hand up versus that hand off, which
Yes.
I love.
Yeah.
So
And I
Napoleon,
just want to say, for me, the really important thing, like, you're 18. How old are you now? 22? Napoleon?
21 now.
21.
21.
I'm
Go celebrate
62.
afterwards.
Right. I'm 62 and I'm not at the end of my business by any stretch, but I don't want to be tied to all those things anymore. I really want to live my life. I don't know how much I have left. Seriously. So with that, time is the most important thing any of us have. And I want to enjoy my life, and real estate, this model of real estate, I guess the hardest thing for me would be to admit that I'm not working 24 hours a day. No one is. We all sleep a little bit. But my life before being on a team, I would work every day, 12, 13 hours a day. Right.
Yeah.
And now, while I'm still active and my phone is going and I know what's going on, I can plug out, and plug back in throughout the day. That for me is like, and I could not do that if I was not on a team.
Well, that goes back to your ceiling, right? Like you said, and I know again, this is a little bit different for you, Napoleon, but like I was only doing 5 million is amazing, but I was doing 5 million and that was my ceiling and I couldn't go through it. So at some
Yes.
point, like leverage had to come in. So it's either
Yeah.
you hiring leverage or you plugging into a system where it was being provided for you.
Correct. And
Yeah.
for me, this whole thing is about my profitability.
Yeah.
I am the most profitable I've ever been. I'm going to say that again. I am the most profitable that I've ever been in real estate since joining a team.
Yeah.
So when people get all caught up in what's the split and I don't want to, I'm like, you are paying for it. Whether you're paying someone to do it for you or you're running yourself ragged, it's coming out of your bottom line somewhere.
Yeah.
So why not just hand it to a really efficient, amazing group of people who that is their role, right? And that's what they are embracing. And it just makes your life for me so much better. And again, I'm not shilling for anything because I've done both, but I feel like it is an incredible advantage
Yeah.
to me.
So Napoleon, a little bit different, right? You weren't an individual agent, you were a high school student before getting into this. And what let me ask the question first. Why did you want to get into real estate? Like, just super simple question. What made you want to get into real estate, Napoleon?
Terrible at school, period. I think I had a 2.5 GPA going into my junior year, and I'm looking at a lot of colleges, and I'm like, there's no shot. And I was honestly a little bit of an unruly kid. I was always I never did well with being told what to do and how to do it. So I was looking for a place, one, where earning potential was uncapped, which clearly real estate's probably the number one space to do that. And a place where I could work on my time. And obviously hindsight's 2020. That normally means around the clock nowadays, but it's what worked for me. I the second that I sat in the real estate office and saw everything was going on, I kind of just knew this was it.
Mhm.
I had a job at Panera for 2 days and I quit that day. So
Yeah.
this is how we ended up here.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get into it for some of the reasons that you said, right? Like, they want the autonomy of their business, they want a little bit of flexibility, in their lives, right? They want to help people, they want to be that salesperson. I think when you step into a team, you get that opportunity a little bit more than if you do this on your own. You get to be more in front of the clients, you get to provide the customer experience, which is a lot of the reason why. And you do get some of your time back, just not until it's quite earned. So Napoleon, talk to me about the L. Talk to me about that L, leverage with the team. You almost don't know what you don't know as the individual side of things, right? Because you stepped right into this. But you've seen other agents in the business. You've worked with a lot of other agents with the amount of production that you're doing. What do you believe leverage with Daniela's team did for you?
I'll be honest with you. I couldn't imagine a business without having the leverage of a team. I think it'd be nonstop, and it's already nonstop. I think your selling potential is very capped if you're not leveraged in the right way. And back to what Laura said, you're going to pay for it regardless. You're going to, whether it's in your time and your headspace or it's financially. People are so worried about splits. I want 50% of I don't want to give away 50%, but 50% of a deal is better than 100% of nothing. Or your time, right? I love being able to be active with my family or going out and being able to breathe a little bit. I see a lot of these agents that are doing $8-10 million a year on their own, and I have no idea how you do it. Even with an admin or a TC, all of the back end work that still comes with that, it's a lot of headache. And I think back to the client experience aspect of things, if it's just you, your client, and you're doing that much volume, your clients aren't going to be able to get the experience that they deserve. And I think that there's a holding cost to that as well, because you're going to lose a lot of referrals that come with that if your clients walk away and they aren't happy with the experience. We're looking 5-10 years down the line. I have another hopefully 30-40 years in this space. I think the happier my clients are now, the more I reap the benefits 10-15 years from now. That leverage that Daniela's provided for me has really helped that experience, and it's fast tracked the process too. Being able to see how that these great people handle the back end work when it's time for me to step in and I have to, I was able to just jump right in.
Yeah.
Can I pop in with one comment? And I'm just going to, sorry, Danielle. I
Always.
remember going to Keller Williams Family Reunion, the only one I went to, which was in 2020, February of 2020, right before the whole world shut down.
We all got COVID.
Yes, I didn't, but yeah, but COVID was like right around the corner. And Gary Keller said from the stage, I'll never forget this. He said, the most successful and biggest realtors have not even been licensed yet. And Napoleon, you are what he was talking about.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Laura.
Seriously. I mean, you're the world is your oyster. Like, look at your face and your dynamic and your energy, and you have this great team, and the sky is literally the limit for you.
Thank you. We'll keep working. See where the
Yeah.
wind takes us.
Yeah.
Head down.
Yeah.
Head down, head
Head
down.
down.
So I think some of the sometimes, and I have the opportunity to talk to a lot of agents that are in the industry. Sometimes a lot of, and again, a lot of people don't know what they don't know. And this is not, we're not here to pitch teams to anybody, but a lot of times what people will say is, well, I'm so entrepreneurial. Like I'm very entrepreneurial. I just want to own everything. I just want to put my face on everything. Like, what would you say to somebody who might be on this call right now who says, I'm very entrepreneurial. I don't think I could work well on a team. Like, because to me, when I talk to both of you, Laura, I think you're very entrepreneurial. And Napoleon, I think you're very entrepreneurial. So to somebody who would say that, what would you say?
I mean, I'll jump in and just tell you that another thing that Amanda said to me, she's the greatest recruiter ever. She came over to my house. I was recovering from ACL surgery. My own manager from my office, they were like, we're going to bring you food. We're going to do all this. None of them showed up. Amanda shows up. She's got the sandwich. She's got the latte. She sits on my couch for 2 hours. I'm like literally bandaged up, and she says to me, you're very entrepreneurial, but you're not purposeful. And we have to take the E to P. I'd
Yep.
never heard, P.S., I'd never heard any of this language before. And
Sure.
I've been selling real estate for a large brokerage for, 13 years. Words were coming out of her mouth and phrases that I literally thought she created because I'd never heard them before. And it just clicked like, oh, how you're looking through a camera and you just move the lens a little bit and all of a sudden everything changes and opens up. That's
Yeah.
what she did for me. She let me see that I could go from being entrepreneurial to being purposeful. And really, I could form my vision of what I wanted my business to be. And as far as marketing yourself, I mean, my face is on everything that we do as a team. Now, yes, she's on the MLS as the lead agent. I don't care about that. And I don't care that when the deals close out, all the volume goes under her. I could care less. We're number 10 in the MLS. Okay,
Yes,
so
you are.
yeah, and
Number
and
9.
by
You're
the
number 9.
way, yeah, and by the way, for me, the branding of having that success launches me further when I go on a listing appointment against maybe a huge solo agent. It's not little Laura Marotta anymore who can't sell 5 million. It's a team that sells 300 homes a year and $80 million. I mean, if numbers matter to those type of people, I can come with all that info. They're still getting the experience of working with me and how I curate it for them.
Yeah. I love that. Napoleon, anything to add there? I forgot the question.
I
It was,
remember.
I talk
I
too much.
love.
I'm taking notes. That's why I forgot the question.
Well, maybe it says we're number 9, not number 10.
I know, it's I said you're number 9. Okay, I'm gonna go to a different question. Okay, but you did say something, Laura. You said I was. Oh, that was the question. I got it. I was entrepreneurial, right? Like I was doing all the things. I was a business owner, right?
Right.
And I wasn't being very purposeful about my time. You guys are very large mega agents within mega teams. What does Napoleon? I'll ask you first. This was not on your list of questions. Sorry.
Okay.
I can't help myself. What does being purposeful with your time look like, Napoleon? Like, talk to us about, you don't have to tell us what time you wake up in the morning, but what does that look like without a team? What does that look like for Napoleon? How are you purposeful about your time management, day to day in real estate and your business?
Absolutely. Well, I know that we all know now that time management isn't the most common thing in this space. If it's 7 o'clock and somebody wants to go see a house at 8, I'm out of there. I think being purposeful, though, just to piggyback off of that word and Laura, I think it's so important to be purposeful with your time and what you're doing so that you are ready when you get that call at 5 o'clock and somebody wants to go see a house at 7, that you have everything taken care of at home and you can up and leave if you have to. And you have to figure out what you're best at, right? Whether you're great on the phones or you're great in person, delegation's key. Back to the entrepreneurial spirit, I think that a true entrepreneur knows what they're best at and they can delegate what they aren't good at to people that are better than them at. So I know that someone like Laura is great at listings. She's probably going to spend most of her time attacking that space. And she's not going to spend much time following up. I'm sure she does, but she understands that her time's better spent in a space like that, right?
Yeah.
I think I work primarily with buyers and that's my space. That's where I try to devote most of my time to because I know that's where my time's best spent.
Love that. Laura, anything to add there? How do you make sure that your time is purposeful in what you're doing to maintain the business that you're doing and continue to grow and get to 20 million?
Yes. Number one, my business is about 50-50.
Okay.
So last year, I think it literally closed at 5149 listings to buyers. So I do still work with buyers on a regular basis. And yes, listings make babies, right? So you should be getting leads out of every listing. And that is really, wow, has that really come true for me this year? Probably more than any other year. The amount of business I've gotten out of my listings, buyers and other listings has been incredible this year. But as far as leveraging, what does my day look like? I keep a pretty tight calendar. I do have activities that I do every day. The first thing I really do when I open my phone up is communicate with Kate. It's the first thing. Good morning, knowing that she's working at 8 p.m. at night till 5 in the morning, which always bothers me every single day. That I can't have her here in the United States in my time zone, but it is what it is. She's incredible, amazing person, and we wish we could have her here in real life. But so I start with Kate. She's created tasks for me in Brivity. I know what I need to do. It's in my calendar. I follow my calendar in my phone, and of course, I do have flexibility for when things come in. And I just had an amazing thing happen on Tuesday, and it's kind of a long story, but I was following up with buyers from the weekend. Excuse me, it was Monday, and I took them to a home, and it wasn't in the mix. And they saw another home that I had seen that they saw because it was on our website, so I could see what they're looking at. And I said, I don't think that home's going to make it to the weekend. And they don't know the area very well. And I said, why don't we just drive down the street? So again, I have the time to do that. Drove them down the street, got a showing in 10 minutes, found out it was in multiple offers, wrote by 8 o'clock that night and won the multiple. And they were under contract by the next morning. And they were so blown away by this because, again, I have Kate in the back. I have people to help me manage all that. And that's leverage. I mean, none of us can do what many of us can do.
Yeah.
One of us cannot do what many of us can do.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Good. Okay. Let's talk about leadership, right? So that's one of the other L's that people join teams and stay on teams for. I think it's join and stay, right?
Yes.
Laura, how long have you been with Amanda?
It'll be 6 years in January.
And then Napoleon, it'll be
3 on paper, 5 technically.
technically 5, but like legally.
Legally 3.
Fine, that's fine. So I think, right, like we're saying, people join teams for leads, listings, and leverage. I'm sorry, that's why we get into real estate. 3 L's in teams is different for leads, leverage, and leadership. And then I think they stay on those teams for those 3 things. So talk to me about leadership. What does that relationship look like with you? And for Laura, what does it look like with you and Amanda and Napoleon? What does that look like for you and Daniela? Not that you have to go through an entire one-on-one, but what is the leadership that you expect and get and helps empower you in your business from your rainmakers? I don't care who takes it.
I'll jump in. I will tell you that I had no expectations of leadership. I did not know anything about being on a team. I knew that I trusted Amanda, and I knew because she was my colleague and we had done transactions together. I saw what she did from when she left the brokerage that we were both at and she came to KW. And what Napoleon said, how he'd scroll through the MLS and look for, the agents. I could tell an Amanda listing before I got to the bottom of the page. It was incredible. And I was tracking her and one other agent and looking at what they were doing. And I was like, God, I want to be her when I grow up. So the funny part is that for me, it is so you don't know what you don't know. Amanda has brought me into business ownership, ABAs. I mean, just let's start with that. She brought me into Place because she had the vision way before anybody in Cleveland even knew what Place was. Yeah. She was in Bellingham, Washington, doing career visioning with Michael Finera and, interviewing basically to join Place. And my response was, what? Well, I don't want to give my money to that. Seriously, I will say this on record. I was completely like, what are you doing that for? You don't know what you don't know. She put me in a world that the sky is the limit with this company that I'm partnered with. I'm a partner with her and at Place. So for me, it just has completely changed my world. And I would tell you, Danielle, sorry, I came for the leads more than anything, and maybe the leverage. I stay for the leadership
Yep.
because I don't know how big the world is out there. I still don't know how big the world is out there. And Amanda, for me, is a true visionary. And I'm not blowing smoke when I say that. I tell her that. Sometimes I cry on the phone to her and say, "You've changed my life." I, complete change of my life through her vision and leadership.
Yeah.
I could have never done that for myself. And I'm not selling myself short. I'm just being very reflective and honest. That was
Yeah.
just, those things are not in my wheelhouse and they're in hers. And that's why it's so important for me to be in business with her.
Yeah. I like what you said. You said, I don't know if I'm saying this exactly right, but you said something like, and I don't know how big the world is out there. And the cool thing about being with one of these teams like this is like, it doesn't matter because
Right.
the world is big enough right here for what you want to do. Right. So like,
Right.
baby agent Napoleon coming in gets to come in and really just listen and learn and be the smartest person, or maybe not the smartest person in the room just yet. And then got a call 3 years into this saying he's the #1 agent in our market center. Laura, somebody like you were doing this at a very high level on your own. You plugged into something else. And now that world continues to get a little bit bigger and you never have to wonder what's happening outside of it because it's big enough in there. So Napoleon, talk to me about leadership with Daniela. What does that look like? What is that? Um, this industry is hard and you've been through some of the hard. First, you were through the easy part of it, right? In 2021, 2022, and you were still young and you had a lot to overcome. So what did leadership with Daniela look like that really helped push you through?
The leadership aspect from Daniela was huge for me. I had a lot of trouble in the beginning, and you're ready to bow out and call it quits. You lose a couple deals, you're in. Year one, I think, just to be completely transparent, I probably made $20,000, $30,000. It was tough, and that was with me on the phone calling for sale by owners and expireds all day relentlessly, and I was pretty tapped out. And Daniela can attest to this. There were a couple times I called her, and I was like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. I think I'm gonna go to school. This isn't for me. It's been tough. And having that person by your side that says, I gotcha, hang in there with me. We'll work on it. You're gonna be fine. The sky's the limit. Just keep your head down, keep pushing, fight through it. That was huge because if it wasn't for that leadership and that dynamic that her and I had, almost as a real estate mother, I would be gone. I wouldn't be on this panel right now. I wouldn't be in this space. Who knows where I'd be. But that leadership of constantly knowing that I had somebody that was fighting for me and wanted what was best was huge. There's nothing that could replace that.
Yeah, I love that.
I'll just add one thing. It's really easy to quit on yourself. It really is. Things get hard and you get frustrated and you just want to throw in the towel. It's the key of partnership is that the two of you or the 10 of you or the 1,000 of you don't want to quit on the same day,
Yeah.
right? And that's what keeps us going. And this is, you have to be so resilient to succeed in this business. So resilient and persistent, right? And and opportunistic. Like those are the three probably key traits that you will either grow and stay or you will get out. But I think so many people get out as they hit that, as the curve goes down, they don't realize that when they get back above that line, they're going to grow that much more. And you're going to find another bottom and then you're going to grow that much more. And your leaders are the people that tell you don't quit on yourself. You're going to get through, and that is really critical because at the end of the day, we're just humans trying to do the best we can.
Yeah. And if you're not feeling very resilient that day, the hope is that somebody on that team is going to pick you up, right? It's the same thing. Like we're more accountable to other people on a team
Yes.
versus accountable to ourselves, right? And so you're
Yes.
getting a lot of that. You're almost feeding in from the other energy of the other people on the team as well, through that. Notice that I keep saying leads, leverage, and leadership, and we're not going to talk a lot about leads because a lot of teams operate leads very differently. And kind of to your point, Laura, like a lot of people do start on teams for the leads. And Napoleon, like probably same for you. You were younger getting into this. You're like, my sphere of influence, they're renting apartments, right? Like they're not buying houses right now. And so we're not going to talk too much on leads, but you could just shake your head, right? You got leads by joining the team. Like I think we can just do that. But we don't have to talk too much on leads. I do think it's a reason why people join teams, but I think there's so much more than just the lead coming through the top of the funnel, right? It's like what happens in the middle of the funnel, and then when they pop out, what happens after the funnel, right? Till they get into the top of the funnel again. Cool. All right. Can you share, and I don't care who takes this. Laura, you take this one first. What do you believe sets successful agents apart from those who struggle to break through? So those that are feeling that lack of resilience that day, what is outside of grit? Because we know that that's number one here. What sets the agents apart, like you guys, why you're here today versus other agents that are struggling to find their breakthrough?
Everything I just said before, you have to learn what resilience is. You have to learn that you got to get up and put one foot in front of the other, no matter what the world and real estate is throwing your way. You have to learn to become an objection handler, because that is probably the key between really ultimately no success and success. Every no begets a yes.
Mhm.
Every no begets a yes. If you're not being told no, then you're simply not really doing your job. And it's going to feel crummy a lot. And I think that that's the key, persistence, resilience, and being opportunistic.
Love that.
Got to do that every day. And it really is a daily practice.
Mhm.
You're not going to slay the world in 1 week in real estate. You have to see that the path is long, and there are peaks and valleys, but you got to stay on that path. And that, the road's going to go this way and that way, and you find the right balance for you, but you just can't give up. You can't quit. Don't quit on yourself. Make a promise to yourself, and Danielle's point, be accountable to somebody else.
Yeah. Love that. Napoleon, what about you? What do you think sets successful agents apart from those who are kind of struggling to make that breakthrough? Doesn't have to be
Yeah.
team.
Yeah. To piggyback off Laura again, it's not going to happen overnight.
Mhm.
In my long 3-year tenure, I have slowly understood that real estate is like a baby, right? It's every day, nonstop. You have to work Monday through Sunday. If that's what works for you, it's what has to happen. Um, and be okay, roll with the punches when things there's ebbs and flows, right? I'm sure I've had months this year where my phone just hasn't rang.
Mhm.
And back to the working for other people and having other people in your corner, it's imperative. You need that just to stay busy and stay on it. I think the people that don't make it in this space are just simply people that gave up too soon or didn't give their everything. You have to give every ounce of yourself to this business at some point to make it. And clearly, I think that you could take a good 5 years at it and then kind of take your foot off the gas as everything has led on. But if you want to be a mega agent in this space, it's never ending. Monday through Sunday, the second you wake up, you're on the email, you got a couple texts to respond to. Before you're going to bed, you're buttoning up your loops and you're sending out emails, wrapping it up. It's never ending, and you have to understand that.
We're going to just take that snippet from both of you and share that with every new agent before they sign up for their classes.
And you have to be out always looking for business. So it's not just responding to the business you have. You have to be prospecting based, even if that just means within your sphere. I mean, 80 some percent of my business comes from my sphere annually, pretty much 75 to 82%. But your sphere will send you less and less and less business over time, because there are more and more and more realtors attacking them, right? Everyone is trying to get a piece of the pie. The pie is only so big. So you do have to be prospecting based. And that has been the hardest thing for me to really say, yeah, I've got to prospect constantly. And what that looks like for an agent can be very different. I don't pound the phones. I'm much better at open houses. I'm much better face-to-face connections. Um, Taking inbound calls and nurturing them into meets, right? Your unmets to your mets to your nurtures to your clients,
Yeah.
active clients.
And that was going to be one of my questions. And your business has probably changed over the years, but Laura, did I get it right? Did you say about 80% of your business is now sphere of
Yeah,
influence?
last year I think it was 82% was from out of my repeat client sphere. Yeah.
Which is great. Napoleon, what about you? What is your
I'd say
business?
about 20. I'd say about 20%.
Where does the rest of the business come from? Is it leads? Is it open houses? Is it just direct handoffs? What
A
does it
lot.
look
I'd say the majority of it's leads. I see some business from open houses as well. But again, my sphere, like you said, they're not buying yet.
But
And
they will be.
yeah, they will be soon. So
Mhm.
hopefully soon.
Yeah.
And it's an identity thing, right? It's you have to be known as the realtor. You're not just Napoleon anymore. You are Napoleon the realtor. And that's where all my sphere comes from. I walk around everywhere with a big realtor tattoo on my head. You have to make sure everybody knows. But I'd say right now it's about 20%. And 5, 10 years down the line, I hope that it's closer to 80,
Yeah.
like Laura.
I think what you just said though is a majority of the either the newer agents getting into this, right? Or the agents that are trying to figure out what their next move is. Like that's their number is looking like right now, right? And then obviously after you get more years in the business. And something we didn't even really talk about, but you plug into a team that does events, right? That does a lot of client care or special, it's like things that you guys aren't even that not everybody is thinking about that's happening behind the scenes. That is what's bringing a lot of that repeat referral back is the business is doing the client events, making sure that that client experience goes beyond that closing date, right? And they're staying in touch and they're going into the database and they're doing all the things. So Napoleon, I'm sure that number is going to inch up there as you continue to close more deals. Okay, we've got some people on the call that are on Teams. So if you guys do have any questions, you can unmute or throw it in the chat. I actually just have one more question that I'm gonna ask both of you. What is the number one thing in your life that you've gotten out of joining the Amanda Pullman team and the Maragos group?
You go first, Napoleon.
Awesome. I think it's the I think it's the confidence that has came with it. Being so young, it's shown me that I'm capable of almost anything. I've surprised myself time and time again. When I first came in the business, I told myself if I was doing 2 to 4 million by the time I was 21, I would be elated. I think that joining this team has given me so much confidence in myself, and it's shown me so many things about life. It's taught me so many life lessons so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll forever be appreciative of that. It's definitely molded me into the person that I am now. If I went solo, I couldn't tell you the agent that I'd be today. So again, it's at that I think it's that would be the most important thing that's came for me is the confidence that's I've gotten from Danielle and the team.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Laura?
Wow, this is such a tough question. Great questions, and I just want to say, being on a panel with somebody who's like 40 years younger than me, it's great because we have such opposite stories, and yet we're both doing very similar things. So I think that's fabulous, and that's one of the connectors, in real estate. I feel like my life has changed so much in the last 6 years for the better. Um, I now see a path to maybe some kind of retirement that I didn't have before at all. And that is really important. I mean, I do not want to work till I'm 80. Well, maybe I do. I don't really know. I just would like to have the flexibility financially that I did not have before I joined the team. That's probably the single largest change in my life is
Yeah.
my financial health and what that means to everybody in my family, right? And I am a really growth minded person. So for me, I want to be with somebody in business that just like I said, I mean I'm on a call with Chris or Ben and or Amanda's leading a team meeting or all the agents on our team who are all passionate and brilliant at what they do, just this collective energy that I'm tapped into has just completely opened my world up in a way that it's kind of hard to put into words. I'm just so grateful for. It's life changing. It really is. You can be in a room alone by yourself doing your own thing and you don't know what you don't know, which we've said 14 times already, but your world just can be so much bigger than you could ever imagine.
Well, they sometimes say real estate can be a little bit lonely too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Individual agents will tell you that, right? So you've got to
yeah.
build some sort of community. And if you can find that within your team, it doesn't feel as lonely, obviously, because it is hard and it does feel lonely. Um, I thank you both for sharing today. I don't know if anybody on the call has a question. If you do, you can unmute. I think it goes back to the 3 words that you said, Laura, which I will steal from you, because while I think your guys' teams are amazing, Amanda Pullman's amazing, Danielle Maragos are amazing, you guys are also amazing. And if you find the right environment, I think you guys are true testaments that you can find a lot of success. And it comes back to persistence and resilience and being
Opportunistic.
good. Yep.
Always. Yeah.
Damiano, did you have a question? You can unmute.
Hey, I was curious if there was something to look for in a good team versus a team that might not be as good. And I'd also love to hear what your team training was like versus what comes from your brokerage.
Am I being arrested? Is this a Halloween? Are you
I heard
a
there
real
might be some warrants
policeman?
in here.
Pardon me.
I said, I heard there might be some warrants in here. Yeah.
Right. Training is everything in this business. So yes, you can tap into training just from being with a broker in a market center. But the team training, I think, that's one of the questions I would ask if I was interviewing a team lead. What are you giving to me? What are you imparting to me? And what's my accountability back to you? You can get lost in a team and just be lost in the ether. I think you have to find somebody that you can connect with. Not necessarily even be so like-minded in the beginning, but someone who will really have your back. I mean, that is the point of being on a team, right? A collective group of people that have each other's backs and are going to grow greater than you as an individual. Um, and there are tons of teams out there. I mean, of course, I want to shamelessly plug ours, but I'm just saying, you can see who the winners are, I think. And it always still comes down to what are you willing to put into it? A team is not going to solve your problems if you are not willing to put the work in. So it always still starts with us, but it's what you can, collaborate with, how you can collaborate with.
Damiano, I think the other piece of this, and I know you're not with, I think you're with Legacy Group, right? Sometimes it's understanding the mission, the vision, the values of the teams and making sure that they align with yours, right? So obviously Laura was a good business associate of Amanda's, right? And kind of built a friendship and then respected her as a leader and came into it. And Napoleon went a very different route, right? And was searching things and was like, Daniela, teach me everything. And so they both found their people in very different ways. What I would say to you, and I don't know anything about your business, obviously, but I know Mark is a great TL down there too. I would actually go to him and say, listen, I might be exploring something like this. This is sort of what I'm looking for. And as a team leader, the role is to put you in front of a few that might be a good fit. And then you'll know. It's like when you walk through the doors of KW. It's like when you walked through the doors of real estate. Like you knew it was a good fit for you. You should feel the same way about a team. Because, and all of them, it's why we didn't talk about leads, right? Because every team offers something different. Same thing with leverage. Some people have a team of 12 people on an admin staff. And some people have a team of 2. Some people work with investors. Some people work in the commercial space, right? So you've got to figure out what's important to you. And then you've got to make sure that that team that you find is offering the right value to you. So I would start there. I would start that conversation. If it's something that you're interested in, and again, I don't know anything about your business, but if it's something that you're interested in,
Brand new.
okay, good. Congratulations. Welcome to real estate. I would open that conversation with Mark and say, hey, I'm kind of exploring this and can I get in front of a few of them that might be a good fit? And then he will be able to take your personality and what you're looking for, and then hopefully find a team that aligns with your vision and your values and things like that. Yeah.
Hey, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, of course.
Stay safe out there.
Amanda Pullman just came on video, so I know she's got something to share.
Okay.
You can unmute, Amanda.
I didn't actually. I just could get on video because I've been in a hair salon. And I'm getting in my car. I just want to say this was a really super look at just everything about a team. And I love just from both perspectives, both Laura and Napoleon, you both seem to be people that thrive on a team. in that you see the benefits rather than, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, you're on a team. Does that not mean that you have your own brand or you have your own identity or all of the negative things? And I just would say to both of you, it shows new to real estate or 20 years in real estate, there could be some options with a team that really fit the bill. And like Danielle says, it just depends on the team, and we've all got different styles. But just a great meeting. Thank you so much. I just enjoyed listening to it. Great.
Thanks,
Thank
Amanda.
you.
Yeah, you guys are fabulous. Any last words? Oh.
Hi, Danielle. How are you?
Hi, Daniela.
Hi. Thanks, Laura and Napoleon, for coming on. You guys are amazing and super, super proud. And I have to just brag about Napoleon. He came as an early intern, just kind of watching and observing the ropes and listening to phone calls. And he was patiently coming in and very committed to it early on. And I didn't know what to think of it. Is this kid going to, you know, take it far, or is it going to just be a hobby or whatnot? But he had his heart and soul into it. His very first 18th birthday, he passed his test and he was ready to go. So we brag about Napoleon. We, as a team, we just love him. He's our little Napoleon, and nobody can mess with our little Napoleon. But there were a lot of times where we cracked up. I'd call him early in the morning and I'd say, and I'd be like, Napoleon, where are you? You didn't answer your phone. And he's like, well, it's 6 a.m. I'm like, those are normal business hours.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you have to sit back and relax and think, okay, I know his age. He wants to, he's trying to start his business, but yet he also wants to, participate in all the activities of somebody of his age. So, but he was very committed and he was so eager. And I think it shows how his commitment has taken him this far. So we're
He's
super proud.
incredible. I hope to meet him one day. It's really incredible.
He is. He's a sweetheart.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. If you guys have any questions or need anything, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Laura, Napoleon, I think you're both amazing. Amanda, Daniela, I think you guys are both amazing, and you're so lucky to have these people in your world, and they're so lucky to have you. I don't know what the next K1 event is, or I should probably be telling you guys, but thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
We'll talk soon. Laura,
Really appreciate it.
thank you so much. Talk to you
Thank
guys
you, Danielle.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care.